So I'm never really too complacent with myself or with what I've achieved. When I get to a point where I feel I can improve as a player, I walk away from the game. I still feel that I have a plateau that I hadn't reached yet in terms of my skills or my expectations of myself. I know that, as my father says, the what if comment is to be able to deal with the consequences of what decisions you make. And you think about that. If you think about the consequences, pro or con, you make the right decisions that you feel is the right decision. Now, all the decisions I made, other people may view to be not the right decisions from their perspective. Yeah, I felt that. I mean, and look, I think there was a lot of situations where people were, somewhat critical in terms of the way that I perceived it. And, but I had a mission, I wanted them to understand what it took to win, and winning has a price.
Unbelievable. 13 seconds left. Jordan left side.
I practice as if I'm playing in the game. So when the moment comes in the game, it's not new to me. That's the beauty of the game of basketball. That's the reason why you practice. That's the effort. So when you get to that moment, you don't have to think. Instinctively, things happen. I mean, it wasn't as if, it was a constant resistance or I felt the necessary need to do it every time we played. No, it was, it was a process that, when you win and you learn, you apply that over a period of time. And with Luke, he did. But his strong points, his athleticism, he didn't have the athleticism as most bigs, but he had the smarts. He knew how to position himself well. Jerry Krause is right there, and Jerry's not here. Obviously, I don't know who invited him. I didn't, but I hope he understands. I hope he understands it goes a long way, and he was a very competitive person. I was a very competitive person. He said organization wins championships. I said, I didn't see organization playing with the flu in Utah. I didn't see him playing with, with the bad ankle. And you don't really pursue. And I said it, from a, chuckling, because I was really frustrated as opposed to yelling. I wanted him to understand, look, man, you don't have to just, you have to keep playing. You don't play just for one quarter just so that now I can look at you and say, you're doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. And I get it, but we still have to play the other three quarters of the game.
Michael Jordan tells me one day he wants to be the best player that's ever played here. And I said, well, you got to work harder than you did in high school. He said, I worked as hard as everybody else. I said, oh, excuse me. I thought you just told me you want to be the best player to ever play here. He said, I'm going to show you. Nobody will ever work as hard as I work.
Sports is a tool that teaches, and it teaches you bad things. It can also teach you good things. It's how you perceive those things. I've looked at every experience that I've had, negative and positive, and taken that as a positive. If I wouldn't change anything because I think it would alter some of the other things that happened. So when I look back, I can't say that I've had any bad things happen. Sure, I mean, you don't want bad things to happen, but you deal with bad things. You can't have good or without bad. I mean, my competitive nature has gone a long way from the first time I picked up any sport. Baseball, football, ran track, basketball, anything in this class, I played it. When you think about, so they started the fire in me. That fire started with my parents. And then, as I moved on in my career, people added wood to that fire. Coach Smith, what else can I say about him? And when I came back, I wanted to play. He and the doctors, they came up with this whole theory that you can only play 7 minutes a game, but I'm practicing 2 hours a day. I'm saying, well, I don't agree with that math, And back then, it was about whoever had the worst record get the most balls in the ping pong balls, and you can decide what pick you're gonna have. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to win. I wanted to make the playoffs. I wanted to keep that energy going in Chicago.
He was an asshole. He was a jerk. He crossed the line numerous times. But as time goes on and you think back about what he was actually trying to accomplish, you're like, yeah, he was a hell of a teammate.
He was pushing us all to be better because he wanted to win.
They say it was a so-called freeze-out in my rookie season. I wouldn't have never guessed But you guys gave me the motivation to say, you know what? Evidently, I haven't proved enough to these guys. I got to prove to them that I deserve what I've gotten on this level. And no matter what people may have said, if it was a rumor, I never took it as truth. But you guys never froze me out because I was just happy to be there, no matter how you look at it.
I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
I never feel that I'm at my best. I feel I still have room to improve. I still set goals for myself to strive for. I'm never complacent with what I've achieved, even though it's been very successful for me.
I can remember a game coming off the basketball court and we were down, I don't know, 5, 10 points, and I go off about 25 points and we come back and win the game. And we're walking off the floor and Tex looked at me and says, you know, there's no I in team. I say, Tex, it's not an I in team, but it's I in win.
That's where my role became very vital, to lead and to give them that, that knowledge that they need. Along with Phil, obviously Phil was, the leader, but in terms of basketball leadership, when I say I led based on, physically, I get out there, first one there, last one to lead, work on my skill set, blah, blah, blah. Listen to what the coach, try to, do whatever the coach is asking. I felt compelled, once I got to know those guys, to kind of push them to understand, okay, we're not in the bottom anymore, we're on top. And when you're on top, everybody's coming at you. So you have to be prepared, you gotta be ready to play.
So now I'm on the winning team, and halfway in the game, halfway in the situation, he would switch me to the losing team. So I take that as a competitive thing by you trying to test me. And by 9 times out of 10, the second team would come back and win no matter what he did. So I appreciate Kevin Locke for giving me that challenge, providing that type of fire within me. He threw another log on that fire for me. Jerry Reinsdorf. I mean, what else can I say?
I really don't have regrets. I am a person that says, as soon as you look back in your history and you come up with something that you feel like you want to change, something else has to change. So.
What about your biggest disappointment?
Once again, that's the same analogy. Disappointment to me, to win, you got to lose. To be successful.
Motivator, average defensive player. I wanted to change that. I wanted to take another step. I wanted to do all those things, that could separate me from Magic Johnson. I'm not saying he wasn't great. He still is great. But we're great in our own different way, and that was motivational for me.